definitely focused me on thinking about the world differently. I travel with 110 students from all over the world. We stay with host families, and we were in Europe and Asia and South America. So it just kind of opened me up with, wow, there's a whole lot of different ways of looking at things. I think a lot of the conflict that's caused in the world, I promise you that on both sides of any conflict, the people feel they're 100% right. And and I'm talking about any conflict, if you're on this side, and if there's just for a moment you can blink a little bit and come over to this side and start to see where that's coming from, we'd have a lot more peace in the world. And so that's what I believe is the most important thing about global leadership, is getting that understanding of how other people are seeing it and why. And maybe it could be culturally based, and it's coming the way your filter is seeing it.
Do you think that ability to look from the other side is something that can be taught, or is it something that has to be experienced or learned about?
I think it goes back to what's your practice. I think anything in life is about practice, and it's about the mirror work. It's about why did I react that way, and really diving and not being afraid to go study why am I feeling uncomfortable when this person's standing so close to me, and then you go read about it. Well, that's their culture to stand that close. Okay, then all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's kind of cool. So I think that's just always lifelong learning. Anybody else?
I was just going to say, a lot of the cultural things that you experienced from Mexico, things like that, do you think you've learned a good amount of them in a classroom, or do you think that you really had to go to Mexico to experience these cultural differences?
I definitely learned what was happening in a classroom. So I had the basis to go there, and then when I experienced it, I went, oh, this is what's happening. So I think it's very important to do both, because you could just go there and experience it and not know what you're experiencing. So it's very important to always read and understand kind of what's going on. But to say that, if you guys have a chance to study abroad, go do it. This is the time to do it. Make sure you're doing it, and congratulations to you guys for doing that. So it's good.
I was just going to ask if you could tell us just about your company and what you do.
So I just left Los Cabos Children's Foundation, and I'm still on the Chairman's Council, so I still help them. I'll tell you what we did.
Did you get out of line?
What?
Did you get out of your line?
No, I didn't actually.
Okay.
I'm actually farther down my line now, and I'll tell you why. So Los Cabos Children's Foundation treated all the children with cancer in Baja California Sur. We still do. I'm still part of the Chairman's Council, so the board, and we are raising money to build a cancer center down in Los Cabos. So that's what I'm still doing. So I'm still helping them raise money. I have been wanting to have my own business for a long time, and passionate about it. I've also been passionate about my family, and I've been away from them for a long time. So I've been down in Mexico, and they live in Arizona. And so I've been planning to combine those two, where I could still do the nonprofit work, I can still do global leadership, and I can be with my family. So that's basically what I'm doing. My company now is, I'm a consultant, and I do leadership. I speak on leadership. I teach etiquette when you go to different cultures. I do, and I do business planning for people. So people that want to do business, and especially in Latin America.
You said you're taught, or you do etiquette seminars, and not to take away from that, but what would you say is the number one, I guess, assumption that Americans make, or the number one faux pas that Americans make when going to different parts of the world?
Getting down to business too fast, without getting to know people, and assuming. I would say Americans also assume that we do know a lot of things. Unfortunately, when I travel a lot, that's the fortunate part. Unfortunately, is I hear a lot of Americans say, "But I'm American." And it's unbelievable. Like, it's just unbelievable. You're like, so what? And so, but we are taught That's why it's so important to, and not taking anything away from this country, it's just, it's important for us to be more global and to look out farther and to, you know, help be part of the rest of the world. So. Anybody else? Well, thank you guys very much. Any other questions you have? Oh wait, you missed my the book recommendations.
I've been waiting.
Anyway, Think and Grow Rich. These are old books, I think like 1930. How to Win Friends and Influence People, very old book. But all the concepts in that book, and it's kind of, if you're a female reading that book, you might get offended because everything's about a man, because it was written in 1928 something. But don't just take that out of it and don't take it personally. It's a great book. Good to Great. That's the one that the hedgehog concept comes out of. And my favorite line from Good to Great is, good is the enemy of great. And think about everything in your life that you're doing that's good, but if you stop doing it, you could really find something that was great. And I always take it back to relationships. Have you been in good relationships that were like, well, it's good, you don't know anything about it, but it's really not the ideal person you want to be with. So good, when you stay in good, it's definitely the enemy of great. And but it's scary to get away from good. It's not just relationships, it's job, it's everything you're doing. If you're good, you're not going to be great. So don't ever get stuck into good. The 4 Agreements, has anybody read that in here? That's an incredible, if you could really live those things, you don't have to worry about anything else. The Economist, anybody read The Economist in here? If you want to know about the world, this is the official magazine of Thunderbird. This is written. It's a British publication. What I love about it is it's not from a point of view. They go into depth. When they talk about something like Iraq, which most Americans sit there and go, Iraq, okay, there's a problem over there, or whatever. It'll say, okay, in Iraq, the north part's the Kurds, the middle part the Sunni, and the southern part the Shia. And here's the reasons why it's a problem. And here's the reasons why. I mean, you will actually understand what is going on over there a lot more than just watching TV. And so that's just one example. Everything, they go into depth about it. Yep.
If you would recommend one book from all of that list, which one would it be?
I would say Think and Grow Rich. I would say the top 2 books, you wouldn't have to read any other books if you really live those lessons. But the other ones I think are obviously very important. The Economist, from just a world view, you can get it weekly. It's a tough magazine to read. It's completely full, but it's a great thing. It's a great book. It's a great magazine. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and the 8th Habit is great. Tipping Point. This is a little different. How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci. Just a different way of thinking. Anyway, this is about Abraham Lincoln, Team of Rivals, and he's a great leader. So how he looked at there, and this is a very Western point of view, leadership stuff. There is great Eastern philosophy leadership as well, and I encourage you to read any of it. And great Eastern leaders.
Do you think that's something that's occurring more and more? I guess as we globalize culture, there's less and less of Western leadership, Eastern leadership, and now there's just at least in the future, there'll be more global leaders. Do you think that will emerge within the next 50 years, the next 30 years?
Well, I think there's been great global leaders in the past. I mean, I think that Gandhi was a great global leader, and I think that when you can look at Gandhi, you can look at Churchill, you can look at other people that have understood other cultures, and you might not agree with what they did, but they were great global leaders. And so I think I think it is emerging like that it's going to be more and more just not Western or Eastern, but more global. Yeah.
Before everyone leaves, I just wanted to make a quick announcement, and I just wanted to thank Korey again for coming and speaking to us this evening. And before you exit, there are